A midnight announcement shutting down Silver Airways flights across the Caribbean, leaving Bahamian routes up in the air. Tonight, the Ministry of Tourism talks next steps to fill the gap. We are live in Miami with reaction from the Deputy Prime Minister. And bridges, roads, and water. The Davis administration promising millions in upgrades across the Family Islands in the upcoming budget cycle. Plus, after nearly 15 years in Parliament, Alfred Sears says he won't run again. F&M leader Michael Pintard wishes him well. Then in our news at 7:30, a PLP MP says his comments were misrepresented, but the Tribune isn't backing down. The paper dropping full audio of the interview, and now the opposition weighs in. Our news live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Candino Knowles. A major shakeup in regional travel as Silver Airlines has suspended all operations effective immediately. The notice went out late last night, months after the carrier filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. With Silver servicing 6 airports in the Bahamas, the Ministry of Tourism and Aviation now working to quickly fill the gap. Bernie McDermott, he is live in Miami at the ministry's global trade mission, where he spoke with the Deputy Prime Minister about what happens next. Bernie, what can you tell us?
Candino, providing a little bit of context for you, Silver Airways supplied multiple flights to some of the major islands of the Bahamas, like Abaco, Grand Bahama, New Providence, Exuma, and Eleuthera, sending at least 2 flights daily to some of these destinations. However, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Chester Cooper, telling us the announcement didn't take him by surprise.
The reality is that they had been a beleaguered airline for quite some time. They had been into Chapter 11 with an attempt to restructure.
The sudden announcement from Silver Airways that it was stopping all flights having a serious impact on the Bahamas. It means islands like Abaco, Grand Bahama, Exuma, Eleuthera, Bimini, and New Providence are now down an international carrier. Tuesday night, the airline released this travel advisory advising its passengers that operations ceased today, June 11th, adding that passengers with scheduled flights should not go to the airport and to expect all credit card purchases to be refunded. The airline says in an attempt to restructure in bankruptcy, Silver entered into a transaction to sell its assets to another airline holding company, who unfortunately determined not to continue operations in Florida, the Bahamas, and the Caribbean. In light of Silver's fallout, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Aviation and Investment Chester Cooper says the ministry is in talks with airline partners to fill in the gap, like American Airlines, which he says will monitor the demand, and Bahamas Air.
And we've already engaged Bahamas Air directly about what additional routes that we might provide. We're looking at the data. We're going to make the assessment over the next day or two, and we'll take some decisions as to the next steps in best interests of Bahamas Air and the best interests of Bahamas tourism.
Cooper was speaking on the sidelines of a meeting with other airline partners in Miami, Florida. Officials tell us Silver Airways catered to both tourists and locals, but what made them stand out was its connection to Tampa, Florida.
Tampa is an area where we will need to have some deep discussions with our partners because that was a niche that they provided a service in.
Now, Candino, the Deputy Prime Minister, stressing that fortunately for these destinations, there are other major airlines like JetBlue, American Airlines, Bahamas Air, and Delta that are providing services to these destinations until a contingency plan is constructed. Candino?
Right, thanks for that, Berthany. We'll check back in with Berthany at 7:30 for more on the Ministry of Tourism's global sales mission. Team Tourism is in Florida on a mission to turn global interest into bookings. Berthany will tell you all about that coming up. And we're still following the Silver Airways story at 7:30. We'll hear from employees who say they are reeling after the airline's shocking announcement. And now to another shooting on Harbor Island. This time, one man dead and another fighting for his life. It happened late Tuesday night on Munning Street. Police say two men were riding on a golf cart when a gunman in dark clothing walked up and opened fire, then took off running. Both victims rushed to a local clinic, but one didn't make it. The other has since been airlifted to New Providence for treatment. Police urging anyone with information to call 911 or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. And a convicted double murderer's latest attempt to reopen his case has been shut down, with the Court of Appeal calling it an abusive process. Devon Hall is serving 60 years for the 2015 murders of Barry and Sheena Johnson in Grand Bahama, along with a 25-year concurrent sentence for armed robbery. Prosecutors say he masterminded a plan to ambush the couple at their home, shooting Barry in the head, then turning the gun on his wife. The Court of Appeal already upheld his convictions and sentences in 2021 and again refused to reopen the case in 2023, telling him to take it to the Privy Council. But instead of doing that, Hall tried to bring the matter back to the Court of Appeal. It's a move that has now been firmly rejected. And major infrastructural upgrades on the Family Islands, including stronger bridges and cleaner water, will continue in the upcoming fiscal year. During his budget contribution in Parliament Wednesday, the Works and Family Island Affairs Minister said the Davis administration is putting its money where its mouth is. Joshua Williams has the breakdown, including what's in store for Bahamex and the long-awaited glass window bridge in Eleuthera.
Works and Family Island Affairs Minister Clay Sweeting says residents around the country can look forward to smoother roads, improved water supply, new docks and bridges this coming fiscal year. During his budget contribution in Parliament today, Sweeting said the Davis administration is continuing to deliver on its promise to pump millions into upgrading infrastructure.
We are building better, we are building stronger, we are building smarter for every Bahamian, no matter where they live. This administration is not just talking about transformation. We are driving it, Mr. Deputy. As we hop from island to island through the budget, what becomes clear is this. The Ministry of Works and Family Island Affairs is not waiting for an opportunity to arrive. We are delivering it.
The majority of these projects carried out by private-public partnerships on islands like Eleuthera, Exuma and Andros. The minister also seeking to clear the air when it comes to Bahamex, saying while the company has been a part of the government since its inception, it's operated as a private company that now has a board, which will now streamline the way the government paves and patches roads.
On tap for Bahamex will be a fully functioning facilities, new equipment, and building capacity that will be carried out through a $90 million loan agreement with the IDB.
Then there's the long-awaited reconstruction of the glass window bridge in Eleuthera. The cost and timeline of that project has been widely debated, Sweeting crunching the numbers.
Preliminary costs for staff accommodation and shipping costs, 18.2. Preliminary costs for site compound, equipment, lighting, security, utilities, utility diversions, and traffic management, 6.4. Temporary works including landing dock, hall road, piling mat, road pad, and jacking barge, 17.4. Road works, 4.4. North Approach Bridge, $2 million. The actual bridge itself, 25.4.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks for that, Josh. And good news for local government workers on the Family Islands. More than 100 of them set to be promoted and regularized in the upcoming budget cycle. The announcement also from Sweeting during his budget contribution in Parliament Wednesday morning.
Mr. Deputy, across the country, it is estimated that 120 persons will benefit from the regularization exercise. Moving forward, I admonish councils and town committees to adhere to the provisions of the Act with respect to the engagement of employees in order to prevent persons from being disenfranchised in the future.
And many of these workers have long been left out of permanent and pensionable status, but Sweeting, who's actually contributing to the debate on Tuesday, says that's about to change.
As such, the Department of Local Government has undertaken an exercise to identify all full-time salaried workers who have been working for district councils and town committees for prolonged periods of time, with the intent to regularize them as permanent and pensionable civil servants. This will bring long-awaited relief and stability to persons that in some cases have not been able to receive employment ladders for bank loans or salary deductions or benefit from increments, service-wide promotions, or salary increases.
All right, we've got much more to get to tonight, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson, he's standing by in the Weather Center. Greg, I see 84 on the screen. I just checked to see what it was like in Miami, where BJ and our team is. It's 83, so we're not that far off, right?
We're sharing the same air mass, so yeah. They also have some showers across that area. We had a couple earlier this morning. We'll show that in our satellite picture, but most of the activity is waning. Yeah, it is 84. Very warm on the outside under partly sunny skies. East winds at 40 miles per hour. We still have a bit of a breeze, but it's not shaving much off the feels like temperature. Still feels very warm, like 89 degrees on the outside. Temperatures right now, it's 84 in Freeport, Great Harbor Key, Nicholstown, Andros, Governors Harbor here in the capital. Allenstown, Bimini, 82, Marsh Harbor at 82 as well. And you guys up there have some showers and isolated thunderstorms nearby. Central Bahamas, all in the mid-80s with 85, Kemps Bay, Georgetown. Pick up 84s, Black Point, Exuma, Arthurstown, Cat Island, Port Nelson, Rum Key, and down in Deadman's Key, Cooper Townsend, Salvador, 83. And in the southeast Bahamas, all mid-80s there as well. Duncantown, Ragged at 83, and then we pick up 85s. Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, Delectable Bay, Providentialis, Tricks, and Caicos Islands. And deep south, Matthew Town, Inago, you are the warm spot at 86. Satellite radar composite. We had a little bit more moisture yesterday, but that moisture plume has waned a bit. Most of the activity still staying to the west of us, an upper level disturbance combining with that moisture, helping to trigger some showers and thunderstorms. But most of the activity will be pulling away from us. Some Saharan dust is moving in across the southeast and central Bahamas. That's going to put a little bit of a damper on the activity. So we're looking at some very hot conditions, possibly even an isolated shower or a thunderstorm during the next couple of days. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us to look at your extended forecast. Is to look up.
Coming up in sports, future stars of Bahamian basketball showcase their skills alongside others from around the world at Basketball Without Borders.
Better every day.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there. Cable Bahamas, RTV, experience more.
My name is Tribune Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. The NBA and FIBA wrapped up the 2025 edition of the Basketball Without Borders America's Camp. And once again, the Bahamas was represented on the international stage with a pair of rising stars. Terrell McCoy and Chris Brown participated in the 4-day camp hosted in San Salvador, El Salvador, and featured the top high school age prospects across Latin America, Canada, and the Caribbean. The Bahamas Bowl is once again on pause. ESPN announced the College Football Bowl game will not return to Nassau for the 2025 season. After briefly moving to Charlotte in 2023 due to stadium renovations, The game returned home this past January, but it won't be back next year. Rashad Davis is set to return to Cayenne Basket Calvados after re-signing with the club for the upcoming French Pro B League season. The 6'3" wing was a key contributor in his first year with Cayenne, averaging 9.6 points, 4 rebounds, and 1.1 assists across 36 games in just over 22 minutes per contest. Cayenne finished 14th in the league standings last year and avoided relegation. The Bahamas could soon add another international golf event to its sports tourism calendar. Officials from the R&A, golf's governing body, revealed that the Bahamas is on the short list to host the prestigious Latin American Amateur Championships and the Women's Latin America Amateur Championships in the near future. That would do it for our sports. Stay tuned to our news at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as 5 days of violent protests, looted stores, and military deployment in Los Angeles. Now, a curfew has been lifted. Plus, the new pope just made his first bishop appointment under the Vatican's controversial deal with China. And tons of cocaine and marijuana worth over $138 million offloaded in Florida after a string of high-stakes busts in the Caribbean. We'll tell you the U.S. Coast Guard joint operation when our news returns.
My name is Tribune Williams. I've been a live fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on the services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber was available in my area. Once I was able to make the switch, my service and everything I needed was satisfied. My favorite feature would actually be being able to add any apps from the Play Store. It's just basically making any dumb TV a smart TV. I do a lot of back-end support, engineering support, helping clients working remotely when I'm from home. The internet is a very important aspect of my job and my life. My name is Tribune Williams, and the future is home with a live fiber.
That was Judah saying, my name is Judah the Lion. I am Shadford. That's Kennison. This is Charlie Bahama. You know what's going on.
Right, look at this could be a show. We're here at Carnival because we have talent in the house. You know our Carnival has talented different people. We have talented different people. Not me. I'm just here to hold the mic for these three gentlemen here. Charlie Bahama, this week right here at Cable Bahamas Channel 212.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there. Cable Bahamas, RTV, experience more.
Hey, Greg.
Our news, welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. A curfew has been lifted in downtown Los Angeles after 5 days of violent protests over a sweeping immigration crackdown by the Trump administration. The unrest saw businesses looted and sparked the deployment of 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 Marines, all under orders from President Donald Trump. While they're not authorized to make arrests, the troops are protecting federal buildings and personnel. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended the move in Congress Wednesday, calling it lawful. But critics, including Democratic Senator Jack Reed, say using troops for civil unrest is unconstitutional.
Senator, every authorization we've provided the National Guard and the Marines in Los Angeles is under the authority of the President of the United States, is lawful and constitutional. They are assisting in defending law enforcement officers and law enforcement facilities.
So the answer is yes.
The execution of their job
the answer is yes.
in the city of Los Angeles.
Meanwhile, President Trump says a new trade deal with China is done, pending final approval from President Xi Jinping. Under the agreement, the U.S. will get magnets and rare earth minerals, while tariffs on Chinese goods will spike to 55%. Senior U.S. and Chinese negotiators announced late Tuesday in London that they had agreed on a framework to get their trade negotiations back on track after a series of disputes that threatened to derail them. In return, Trump says Chinese students will be allowed to study in the United States again. Meanwhile, Pope Leo has made his first bishop appointment under the Vatican's controversial deal with China, continuing a policy that divided Catholics under Pope Francis. The June 5th nomination of Bishop Joseph Lin Yunduan in Fuzhou was officially recognized by Beijing this week. Religious leaders say it's a sign Leo plans to stick with the 2018 agreement, which gives China a say in bishop appointments. But critics call the move a sellout to the communist regime. Meanwhile, the Vatican says the deal helps unify China's 12 million Catholics after decades of division. The World Bank says the world is headed for its slowest decade of economic growth since the 1960s, and it's pointing fingers at U.S. tariffs. The bank just slashed growth forecasts for nearly two-thirds of countries, with global growth now expected to sit at just 2.3% next year. U.S. growth is among those downgraded as higher tariffs and rising inflation rattle investor confidence. Still, China held steady in the forecast with enough financial cushion to weather global uncertainty. Explosive testimony in the ongoing Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial, as his ex-girlfriend says the hip-hop mogul compared their sex life to a star-studded NBA lineup. Testifying Tuesday under the name Jane, she told jurors Diddy called himself Jordan during voyeuristic sex parties with male escorts. Jane claims she was coerced, while defense lawyers argue she was a willing partner. Cross-examination turned tense as Jane fired back about her trauma, insisting lavish gifts didn't erase years of abuse. Diddy has pleaded not guilty. And the U.S. Coast Guard says it has seized more than $138 million worth of drugs during a series of busts in the Caribbean Sea. Over the weekend, crews aboard the cutter Valiant offloaded over 17,000 pounds of cocaine and 2,500 pounds of marijuana in Florida. A day earlier, the cutter Vigorous delivered another $6 million in cocaine. The seizures came from 6 interdictions near Aruba, the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, and Colombia, all part of joint missions with U.S., Canadian, and Dutch naval forces. Officials say the operations disrupted major drug networks in the region. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was June 11th. Then in our news at 7:30. Headed to the beach this summer? Health officials say watch out for sea lice. They're tiny, hard to see, and can leave you with a rash that lasts for weeks. What you need to know before taking a dip, straight ahead. But first, a midnight shocker for Silver Airways Caribbean operations. While officials say they saw it coming, some Bahamian employees say they found out on social media and woke up jobless. The story when our news returns.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there. Cable Bahamas, RTV. Experience more.
My name is Tribune Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on the services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber.
On this day in Bahamian history in 1962, 3 prisoners allegedly escaped from Alcatraz Island in San Francisco Bay, California. The escapees were Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin. According to historical reports, there has been no trace of the 3 prisoners, dead or alive. Despite this, numerous rumors and theories about their fate persist to this day. One story suggests the 3 men made their way to Grand Bahama in July 1962. This theory is explored in a book by Peter Wolfelder entitled Alcatraz Escapees in the Bahamas. All right, following Fort Charlotte MP Alfred Sears' announcement that he will not seek re-election, opposition leader Michael Pintard, he's wishing him well. Sears told Parliament Tuesday he'll step away after nearly 15 years in the seat, having served under 2 Christie administrations and again under Prime Minister Philip Davis since 2021. Outside the House of Assembly Wednesday, Pintard thanked Sears for his service, but admitted their clash over the BPL hedge deal in 2022 when Sears was Public Works Minister was a tough moment.
Over the years, we grew to have concerns, particularly relative to the BPL matter, and so it was painful for me to engage in exchanges with somebody I've grown to admire over the years. He has made a tremendous contribution to the development of the country, notwithstanding misgivings about his handling of the BPL matter, the hedge in particular. We wish him and his family well. He is married to an iconic creative, Marion Bettle, who is one of the most incredible writers in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, in the history of not just this country. She's won international prizes.
All right, if you want to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, remember you can visit rnews.bs and share your favorite stories right from R News Bahamas on Facebook. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is Jerome Sawyer in for Talia Hall with the latest headlines. Jerome?
Well, thanks a lot, Kenny. Of course, sorry to see Alfred Sears go. He was a great guy and a great politician, but we're in that season where you find out who's leaving.
Sure thing.
But also who's coming in.
And here's the thing, people are going to want to see who else. If anyone else.
Most definitely. Right? Of course, we wish him well. Thanks a lot, Kenino. Well, an audio recording released by the Tribune today puts an MP back in the hot seat after he says his comments were misrepresented. Plus, more in that Silver Airways shutdown. A Family Island employee shares the shock of it all. Here are your latest headlines. Evidence to support the story ahead on R News Tonight Live at 7:30. An audio recording released by the Tribune Network of an interview with MP Leroy Major substantiates their published story that he now claims misrepresented his comments that his party is ignoring backbenchers. Caught off guard, local employees of Silver Airways say they had no warning the airline was abruptly ending service to the Caribbean. Passengers found out in a statement posted on social media around midnight. All indications point to a 7th term for Teachers Union President Belinda Wilson after union elections yesterday, but with a full day of vote counting, the Registrar of Trade Unions unable to provide any results from the nationwide poll. And they are our closest North American neighbor. But how much do they really know about the Bahamas? Well, the Ministry of Tourism is targeting our Florida neighbors for more business. Our Berthany McDermott is back in this half hour with highlights from their latest mission.
My name is Tribune Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentleman that came to me.
Inti Corporation is on the move, day by day, panel by panel, our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, INTI redefines what is possible. Not only are the Lucayas solar power projects on the island of Grand Bahama growing in scale, they are setting a new standard for energy independence in the Bahamas. These state-of-the-art solar farms at the Fairfield and Devon sites, once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. INTI is on the move as a beacon of progress and innovation that is rapidly transforming our energy landscape. Witness the future of sustainable energy unfolding on the island of Grand Bahama as INTI Corporation shines brighter than ever. INTI Corporation, powering your world, powering your future.
I'm very excited, and I can't believe it. It's it's a dream come true. When she did call me yesterday about it, I didn't know what to believe. Thanks to Mr. Coleman and this whole staff for what they do, and making sure the customers are taken care of, making sure we enjoy the game.
And welcome to our news live at 7:30. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jerome Sawyer in for Atalia Hall tonight. A potentially damning audio recording released with a member of parliament claiming his party is ignoring backbenchers. The recording itself is not the problem. It's his claim he was misrepresented. The Tribune newspaper today releasing the audio of an interview done with Leroy Major with controversial statements about his party. But Major claimed he was misquoted after the paper first published the story. Well, today, the paper fired back with the online release of the full interview. Our Delvado Emmanuel gets us started tonight.
That reporter has misinterpreted everything. We accept that. We understand. You sure? We accept. But I don't want to hear it again. I don't want to hear it again.
Thus, Member of Parliament for Southern Shores Leroy Major appearing to backpedal on comments made last week during an interview with the Tribune newspaper. While standing on a point of order in the House of Assembly Tuesday afternoon, Major asserted his comments were misinterpreted and taken out of context.
It has nothing to do with Southern Shores being disenfranchised by any sitting cabinet minister. Had everything to do with Leroy Major being nominated for the next general election.
Following Major's comments in Parliament, the Tribune newspaper has released the unedited audio to back their original claims. The audio was shared on the Tribune's News Network's Facebook page.
Once we know what the priorities are, and even though we're not around the table, our priorities are around the table, and they could be discussed and they could be delivered. But we cannot fight the hands that feed us. We cannot fight the very particular minister who sits around the table trying to get his constituency up and running.
Yeah, right.
But it got to be fair play to the backbenchers whose voices are not heard.
Even when pressed by the reporter to clarify, Major maintained his position.
You said backbenchers have not gotten the support they've needed, like you said, from the government, the PLP government, and y'all have expressed those concerns to party officials.
We have, and I think that it all boils down, to be honest with you. To my recollection, it all boils down to priorities. Yeah, I think they use what is available to them for their advantage, when it should be used for on a national scale for the national advantage. You know what I mean?
Opposition leader Michael Pintard was asked to comment on the matter this morning.
At the end of the day, he spoke, so he's unable to take that back.
But Pintard wasn't done. He went on to say stunts like this are the norm for the PLP. He left this advice for Major.
We just encourage him to remain courageous. Politicians come and go. And what you will have when it all has passed is your reputation.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
Well, thousands of passengers of Silver Airways, some right here in the Bahamas, were shocked by online posts. The airline was abruptly ending its Caribbean service. The statement posted on their social media pages around midnight. Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation Chester Cooper telling Our News earlier today in Florida the move came as no surprise. But as our Danielle Miller tells us in this report, local employees say they were caught completely off guard.
It was minutes to midnight that Silver Airways announced via their social media pages that they will no longer be servicing flights to the Bahamas. The statement appears to outline the reason for the abrupt abandonment, citing, in an attempt to restructure in bankruptcy, Silver entered into a transaction to sell its assets to another airline holding company, who unfortunately has determined to not continue Silver's flight operations in Florida, the Bahamas, and the Caribbean. It goes on to instruct its passengers not to go to the airport today. But passengers were not the only ones who received the nocturnal notice. We spoke to a former employee of the airline who wished to remain anonymous. The employee says they were informed of the company's departure moments before their public announcement. He even shared this email from Silver Airways CEO announcing the journey had come to an end for most of the company's staff.
And then I received a message from the regional manager advising to not report to work today.
On December 30th, 2024, the airline filed for Chapter 11 protection in the United States Bankruptcy Court for the Southern District of Florida. Since then, operations at the company took a toll.
We flew daily, then they took the flights down to 4 days a week. And even with all the cancellations, you're still not giving the service because you have passengers come. They would sit there all that time and then abruptly Silver cancels.
Although stunned, the former employee says he has already begun job hunting. He had this appeal for the government.
Hopefully with all of this that's going on, the government would now go back, amend that labor law and ensure that their citizens are protected.
Reporting for our news, I'm Danielle Miller.
Well, those comments from the tourism minister about Silver Airways came as he was attending a global sales mission in neighboring Florida today. The minister leading a team to Orlando and now on to Miami, turning up the charm to more than 200 travel agents and tour operators. Our Bethany McDermott is live in Miami tonight, where Team Bahamas is on a mission to turn interest into bookings. And Bethany, I know you've been catching up with Team Tourism and the partners working to put our destination in front and center for travelers and agents. What else can you tell us tonight?
That's right, Jerome. This shocking news from Silver Airways comes as the Ministry of Tourism brought a taste of the Bahamas to Florida. Officials using the opportunity to build new relationships and to keep the Bahamas top of minds for travelers. The Ministry of Tourism bringing a taste of the Bahamas. What does that mean? Music, cuisines, pigs, bringing everything Bahamian to this market. But of course, they started in Orlando just last night, where they brought the same thing to that city, and we were there for all of it. Tourism officials and stakeholders filled the Four Seasons Resort Orlando's Convention Center, all offering a variety of options in one destination. Amid a significant downturn in travel, stakeholders thought it necessary to take a taste of the Bahamas to travelers. But the offerings extended outside of New Providence, with the Abaco Beach Resort seeking to sell the destination that resiliently bounced back from the twin disasters of Hurricane Dorian and the COVID-19 pandemic. Marketing Director at the Abaco Beach Resort, Brad Ingram, telling us the island has something different to offer, adding that the ease of getting from Orlando to Marsh Harbor makes it an ideal option.
We want to showcase what the Abacos have to offer. And we know that we're different, we're very authentic, very unique. We like to say that we're the true island, authentic Bahamian experience.
And if the island experience of the Abacos doesn't suit travelers' needs, there's an all-inclusive option at Sandal to New Providence. One representative telling us events like this always bring results.
It reawakens that attention. It's one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't been to the Bahamas in years.
Out of the 11.2 million visitors that came to the Bahamian shores in 2024, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper says the bulk of them came from or through Florida. Additionally, more than 58% of guests from Florida are return visitors.
Therefore, it's important for us to ensure that our partners in Florida understand the possibilities of the connectivity.
Cooper says the shows are an avenue to advise guests of new developments, places to visit, and the islands for them to visit.
And what we are seeing is that people are booking more impulsively now. The booking windows have generally shortened. What this means is that people are making decisions on the fly. And it's good to be able to take a 25-minute flight after you've made that decision.
Now, Director General Latia Duncombe telling us this isn't the end for the Ministry of Tourism. In the next 2 weeks, they will take a taste of the Bahamas. That means all of this to Canada to ensure that the Bahamas remains top of mind. Reporting live from Miami for our news, I'm Berthany McDermott, sending it back to you on the desk room.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we dancing. We dancing and we waving.
No, don't dance. No, thank you very much, Berthany. I have to admit, once the pig showed up, I couldn't hear anything else, but thanks a lot. Great reporting for us tonight. Well, unofficial reports indicating a landslide victory for incumbent Teachers Union President Belinda Wilson. But 24 hours after polls closed from the nationwide election, still no official results from the Registrar of Trade Unions. But here's what we can tell you tonight. Wilson seems poised to secure her 7th consecutive term. Hundreds of BUT members went to the polls Tuesday to decide whether to keep the longtime leader or bring in new leadership. Wilson was challenged by the union's current assistant treasurer, Julia Hanna, who claimed critical matters were being overlooked. Tuesday's ballot included contests for the vice president's post and more than a dozen other executive positions. Our news sources telling us that Wilson secured the majority of those votes. Our news did speak with the Registrar of Trade Unions, Mrs. Yolanta Yallop Ward, who is overseeing that election. She told us that as of this afternoon, ballots were still being tallied from New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Family Islands. We will follow the story until we get some official word on that final count. A man behind bars on an attempted murder charge tonight. Prosecutors allege that 18-year-old Xavier Longley stabbed Donovan Colebrook on May 24th. The incident allegedly happened during a fight at a home in Garden Hills. Longley didn't have to enter a plea to the charge when he stood before Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley. Bail was denied and Longley is back in court on August 28th to receive voluntary bill of indictment papers that will fast-track that matter over to the Supreme Court. Well, if you plan on hitting the beach anytime soon, you may want to keep this in mind. The Ministry of Health and Wellness issuing a sea lice warning for beaches across the country. The advisory points out from March to August, sea lice are commonly present in the warm waters around the Bahamas. Sea lice are the larvae from jellyfish and barely visible to the eye. They float to the surface near the shoreline, especially in shallow, calm waters. Skin contact with sea lice can cause dermatitis or sea bather's eruption. That eruption produces a prickly or stingy sensation that progresses into a bumpy red rash within 4 to 24 hours following the exposure. The skin rash can last up to 2 weeks. Now, other symptoms may include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, fever, muscle spasm, joint pains, and even difficulty sleeping. Well, with that now, we take a look at what's happening on the outside. Our first look at temperatures tonight. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center tonight. Greg, I thought only hurricanes are the worst things that happen in warm water, but today I was reminded of the sea lice that come upon us this time of the year as well.
This is that time, and of course, very warm waters out there, so it's going to be a problem.
It's a tough choice. You want to go in the water to cool down, but you got to think about what
you may want to stick your toes in the water too, because we do have some rip current risk out there. So sea bathing may be a bit of a challenge for the next day or two. Yeah, we are still on the warm side. 83 degrees is our current temperature in the partly sunny skies. The winds out of the east at 40 miles per hour, but it feels very warm. Feels like 89 degrees on the outside. Looking at our satellite and radar composite, we did see a lot of sunshine today. Early this morning, we got some showers here in the capital. Most of the activity staying to the west of the chain of islands, all courtesy of an upper level disturbance that's moving across the area. That combining with that moisture will continue to trigger a few more showers, most of the activity pulling out. We have some Saharan dust moving into the southeast Bahamas that will spread across the entire chain for the next couple of days. So we're looking at some very warm temperatures. So if you plan on doing anything on the outdoors, make sure you stay hydrated and take frequent breaks from sunshine. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us. Look at your extended forecast. It's still to come.
And still to come on our news, what's next for the outgoing Fort Charlotte MP? Who's going to take his place? We attempt to get answers from him today. And 18 to 24 months to delivery. The sports minister pledges to have the swimming complex in Grand Bahama by that time. And later, it's a model of support for the orange economy. Find out how a donation to an on-stage production in Grand Bahama is helping artists move their art form to an industry. That's coming up when our news returns.
They're blue for me and you, and I say to myself, what a wonderful
Whoa.
Are you ready for the stormy season?
Fort Charlotte Member of Parliament Alfred Sears giving no insight into his future following his decision not to run in the next general election. Sears announced an end to his political career in Parliament just yesterday, ending a nearly 15-year run as the MP for Fort Charlotte once this term ends. He served under two non-consecutive Christie administrations from 2002 to 2012, and then under the Davis-led administration since 2021. The attorney by trade has also held cabinet positions, including Attorney General, Education Minister, Works Minister, and is currently the Immigration and National Insurance Minister. Our news reporter Joshua Williams attempted to get some comments from him at the opening of the session in Parliament this morning.
What's next for you now?
Continuing to serve the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Any possible names you would want to take your seat?
Well, the sports minister, Mario Bolag, is insisting a pool will be completed in Grand Bahama in the next 18 to 24 months. This after government inked a deal with the Grand Bahama Port Authority back in March for 80 acres of land, worth over $6 million for the site of the new pool. Our news understands geotechnical studies are now underway on the property at the Grand Bahama Sports Complex. Sports Minister was recently on the site to see what's been done so far.
This also opens an economic door for Grand Bahama as it relates to bringing sports tourism here, because we want to host international events. We want to invite teams from New York and Canada and the cold countries when it's cold to come to Grand Bahama and use this during their off-season to train. And so this is not just a pool for say the locals to come and use. We want the world to come and use this.
Now, W. Carver Grant and Company Limited is responsible for the geotechnical studies. Construction lab technician Maya Giddings.
We are drilling 20 feet deep holes to test the soil that they're about to build this pool on. And pretty much the synopsis of it is that we take 8 samples at 20 feet and we take the samples, we dry them out, and then we test the soil to see what is the consistency, how strong is it, and we give back a report letting them know like what type of foundation should they need to build this pool.
When our news comes back from the break, imagine being paid for that art form you love. In our final story, we take a look at how an on-stage production is being supported by the Tourism Development Corporation.
Coming up in sports, we have stand-up performances at Basketball Without Borders, Rashad Davis re-signs with his club in France, and golf looks to expand its growth into the Bahamas.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there. Cable Bahamas, RTV, experience more.
My name is Tribune.
Welcome to Our Sports presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. The NBA and FIBA wrapped up the 2025 edition of the Basketball Without Borders Americas Camp. And once again, the Bahamas was represented on the international stage with a pair of rising stars. Terrell McCoy and Chris Brown participated in the 4-day camp hosted in San Salvador, El Salvador, and featured the top high school age prospects across Latin America, Canada, and the Caribbean. McCoy, who recently completed a standout senior season at Bowles School in Florida, was named a BWB All-Star as one of the camp's top performers among girls. Brown continues to build on his sophomore season at Dream City Christian in Arizona that has made him a sought-after recruit for the class of 2027. Now in its 14th year, the Basketball Without Borders Americas event continues to be a springboard for future professional talent, blending elite-level training with life skills and mentorship from NBA coaches and players. The Bahamas Bowl is once again on pause. ESPN announced the College Football Bowl game will not return to Nassau for the 2025 season. After briefly moving to Charlotte in 2023 due to stadium renovations, the game returned home this past January, but it won't be back next year. Instead, Conference USA and MAC tie-ins will shift to the other ESPN-owned bowl games. A new location hasn't been announced yet, leaving the future of one of the biggest events on the country's sports tourism calendar up in the air. Rashad Davis is set to return to KN Basket Calvados after re-signing with the club for the upcoming French Pro B League season. The 6'3" wing was a key contributor in his first year with KN, averaging 9.6 points, 4 rebounds, and 1.1 assists across 36 games in just over 22 minutes per contest. KN finished 14th in the league standings last year and avoided regulation. The Bahamas could soon add another international golf event to its sports tourism calendar. Officials from the R&A, golf's governing body, revealed that the Bahamas is on the short list to host the prestigious Latin American Amateur Championships and the Women's Latin America Amateur Championships in the near future.
I believe over the last 4 years, we have seen a tremendous growth in golf here in the Bahamas, and I'm looking forward to opening the door for great opportunities for our young people and also having the opportunity to host an international competition here.
At a press conference this week, R&A Regional Director Mark Laurie praised the country as a phenomenal destination for golf and emphasized the goal of growing the game locally, especially among the youth.
Over these past years, we've been looking into different courses. You've been fortunate enough or blessed enough to have a series of new courses being incorporated to the roster of already very good golf courses on this island. So Bahamas obviously has become a great golf destination.
That would do it for sports. Kai Jones was named an MVP at a Basketball Without Borders camp and made it to the league. No pressure, Terrell, but we know we have a chance to make it 2 for 2. Back to the studio.
And still to come on our news, Curtain Call and the Tourism Development Corporation changing the game for the arts in Grand Bahama. Find out how corporate Bahamas is really helping to grow the orange economy. Plus, Greg is back with your extended Wednesday weather forecast. All that and more when our news comes back.
Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there. Cable Bahamas, RTV, experience more.
My name is Tribune Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on the services, so I was very grateful that the
This is our news. Welcome back. Well, we are 11 days into the official Atlantic hurricane season, and things are quiet. We do have some updated numbers, even though the numbers really haven't changed. Colorado State University updated their numbers, but it's basically the same. 17 named storms expected for the season, 9 hurricanes, and 4 of them actually Category 3 or greater. Of course, NOAA has their numbers out. That was just last month, and they actually have a range. The averages for the 30 year, 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, 3. And of course, last year we had a very busy hurricane season. 18 there, named storms, 11 and 5. The tropics quiet right now. We do have a couple of tropical waves moving across the tropical belt down near the coast of Africa. A very strong one, but basically not showing any signs of development. And then we have another one that's approaching the Windward Islands. Some showers and thunderstorms spreading across that's Trinidad, Tobago, and the northern coast of South America, and into the Gulf of Mexico. All's quiet there. But here closer to home, we have that disturbance in the mid to upper levels, generating some showers and some thunderstorms. Most of the activity staying well to the west of us. High pressure ridge in the Atlantic building across us. We have some Saharan dust moving in, so things are going to be drying out from south to north, and we expect just some isolated showers, but very hot temperatures over the next couple of days. So make sure you prepare for that. Future forecast showing the moisture associated with that disturbance to the north of us, lifting north. A couple of spotty showers moving through us by Thursday, and that Saharan dust will taper off most of the activity. Friday remaining quiet, and once again, expected high temperatures. Boating forecast, winds have picked up a bit. Small craft caution in effect for the northwest Bahamas. Southeasterly winds 15 knots, 3 to 5 foot seas, while in the central and southeast Bahamas, caution flag for you down there. Slightly stronger east to southeast winds, 15 to 20 knots, seas running 4 to 7 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, we'll keep some spotty showers in the forecast Thursday and Friday. Temperatures will stay near the 90-degree mark, but we start seeing those 90s by the weekend as that Saharan dust moves in. And of course, the field flight temperature will be in the triple digits. So if you're planning on being outdoors, make sure you stay hydrated and wear some protective clothing. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
Thank you much, Greg. I see the nighttime temperatures are still in the 70s, which is kind of
warm.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be hotter at night.
AC weather now.
Yeah, well, hey, it's been AC weather. All right, thank you so much. Well, folks, in our final story tonight, it's the perfect model of how corporate Bahamas can help grow the orange economy. The Tourism Development Corporation recently launching the Grand Bahama Curtain Call project, which invites local playwrights to bring their original works to life. Officials say the program is part of their push to grow sustainable tourism by investing in the orange economy, which includes the arts, music, and culture. The first project to be backed was the play A Man's Point of View. Playwright and producer Corey Damianis says it was simply an honor to be chosen.
This initiative is a bold initiative and much needed step in recognizing the power of the performance arts and the stories that live within the communities. I'm humble and grateful to be the very first artist selected and financially supported by the program. Curtain Call is considered a game changer, not just for me, but for playwrights and performers across the nation.
Now, the play itself is set to take center stage this weekend, just in time for Father's Day. As for what prompted the Tourism Development Corporation to back the orange economy, Senior Director Luna Robinson admits a soft spot for the arts.
It was a passion of love. It was a passion project, definitely, because I am very involved in the arts. So one of the things that I've constantly been recognizing is how difficult it is for an up-and-coming playwright to be able to get their plays seen in an actual venue that people want to come to, and to afford a venue like the Regency. You know, so it was very important for me to make a way that their story be heard.
So a great initiative, and of course, if you're in Grand Bahama for Father's Day, certainly already have something to do. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on behalf of the entire Our News team. I'm Jerome Sawyer. Thank you so much for watching tonight. We'll be right back here tomorrow night. Until then, you have yourself a wonderful evening.